I'm Callum Wilson. I've been managing the direction here at Gypsumtools. It's great to be sharing these ideas with you today. So far, we've looked at why tape and tools are taking the UK by storm and how you can protect your future income by ensuring that you stay ahead of the crowd. Furthermore, we've demonstrated what each component of the kit is used for and how you can get started with ease. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the behind scenes and knowledge straight from the Gypsumtools workshop. You're going to learn. Firstly, the most common automatic tape and tools problems that stop people earning money and how you can avoid them. Secondly, if it's too late and you haven't avoided them, then you're also going to learn how you can get your kit back in action with some of the Gypsumtools repair trade secrets. Make sure you keep watching right until the end, as we've got another treat in store. Mick, our resident taping expert, will be sharing 3 more professional time-saving tips, and on top of this, I have an extra special announcement too, which I'm excited to share. When we spoke to thousands of plasterers and tapers, we discovered that one of the biggest frustrations came when they were unable, for whatever reason, to get on with their job and earn money. Here are the 5 biggest problems that are renowned for taking tape and tools off the road. 1. Snapped or blunt blades. 2. Snapped cables. 3. Blocked or clogged tubes. 4. Rusting and seized mechanics. 5. Snapped chains. I'm here in the workshop. This is where we speedily turn around the repairs of auto tapers and other tools. To help demonstrate these trade secrets, I'm here with Colin, our tool repair wizard, who will be helping you to learn how to 1. Replace the blade on an automatic taper. 2. Replace the cable on an automatic taper. 3. Change the pump filter and plunger. 4. Replace a flat box blade. Replacing the blade on an auto taper. Start off by loosening the wing nut on the cutter chain spring, which gives a bit of slack in the chain. Now turn the taper over and pull through the cutter block. Loosen the screw on the cutter block with a small flathead screwdriver to release the pyramid blade. Now the blade should pull out with a pair of pliers. You can tell that the blade needs replacing because the tape will start to snag rather than making a clean cut. If you look after it and are using it regularly, you would expect to change the blades roughly once a year. To put yourself a new blade in, simply place the blade into the cutter block. Tighten up the screw and make sure that the blade sits flush with the cavity, or again you might experience problems with snagging. Now pull the chain back through the taper head. Pull down on the cutter chain spring. And finally tighten back up the wing nut. Replacing the cable on an auto taper. Start by removing the end cap. You'll see that there are 3 screws which need to be removed. Once these screws are off, the cap will then just pull out with a little bit of force. Next, we need to remove the cover plates. This is designed so that you only actually need to remove the top 2 screws and just loosen the 2 at the bottom and the ones either side. Now you have done this, the plate will just pull out and just slide upwards and off. This makes it quicker and easier when it comes to putting it back on. And just on the left hand side of the cable drum, you'll see a screw which holds the cable. You'll need to loosen this so that we can remove the old cable. And don't forget, this is a new automatic taper, so the cable here isn't snapped. Now use a push rod to push the plunger down to the bottom of the tube. Now lift the old cable out of the slot on the cable drum. Now you've done this, you can turn the taper around and pull the plunger out. This may take a little bit more effort if this was used in a dried compounding. Now this is out, you can disconnect the cable from the plunger by unscrewing the bolt. You may need a spanner to loosen this. Now get your new cable, these are available at Gypsumtools of course, and feed it through the nut. Then carefully place the cable into the slot of the bolt. Hold the cable firmly in place as you tighten the nut back onto the bolt. Don't forget to tighten up with a spanner, as you will not want this loosening when in use. Now feed the cable back down the tube, followed by the plunger. Again, use the push rod to push the plunger down to the bottom. This again may be very tricky if the tube is dirty. Now you can turn the taper back over and pull the cable through the head. Place the loose end of the cable into the slot of the cable drum and tighten the screw back up that holds the cable firmly in place. This can be a bit fiddly. Once that's ready, turn the drive dog, which should be out of gear, to start winding the cable. Once the whole cable has been wound on, we just need to replace the cover plate. So to replace the cover plate, this should slot back in neatly, and now we need to put the screws at the top we took out completely, and then tighten the two at the bottom and the one either side. Now you're happy with that, turn the taper back around, place the base cap back on and tighten the screws back in. Changing the pump filter and plunger. Start off by unclipping the clips on the side. This can be done by hand, but we'd recommend using a flathead screwdriver so that you don't catch your finger. Turn to loosen and remove the tube. This is a brand new pump, so it may take a little bit more effort if your pump is dirty. Now untighten the nut from the bottom of the pump shaft. And take off the plunger cup. You'll see that on a level 5 pump we're using here, there are 3 plates and a plunger cap. If the compound pump is not bringing compound up the tube, this usually means that the plunger needs changing. Once these have been replaced or cleaned depending on your needs, you can reassemble these in the same positions as to when you took the unit off. Make sure that the holes are perfectly aligned so that the compound can flow freely through these holes. Hold the unit together and place it back onto the bottom of the pump shaft and tighten the nut back up. Now you do need to make sure that this bolt is tight, so I recommend using a spanner. Once you've completed this, you're all done, and it's time to slide the tube cover back on. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. Then push the clips back down with your hands to fasten it back on securely. Changing the blade on a flat box. You can tell a flat box blade needs changing because you'll notice that the finish becomes less smooth and it starts to leave lines on the edge of your finish. With general and careful use, each blade should last a couple of years. To take out the blade on a flat box, start off by unscrewing the screws that hold the shoes in place. Now you will need to do this on both sides. Now you've done this, screw the screws at each end of the blade on the brass holder. With a screwdriver, gently lift the old blade out of its slots. Now to put a new blade in. You'll need to slightly bend the blade at each end. This angle makes it easier to get the blade into the slot. Now place the blade on one side and pinch with pliers all the way down until it's firmly in place. Now untighten the screws on each end of the brass holder. Put the shoes back on and place the screws back in and tighten.
It's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to hand over to Mick, our expert taper and jointer, for his top 3 professional taping tips. Mick has been working professionally in the trade for 35 years, making him one of the most experienced tapers in the whole country.
Right, so from that point of view, if you're using your tools every day, there's no need to give them a thorough clean. You just take off the excess, give them a quick wipe with a brush with a little bit of water on them, and then store them into a sealed container, in which case the air can't get at them to dry the materials, and they're perfect to use straight away out of the container the next day. Right, so now I'm going to do exactly the same process to this joint, but instead of starting from the bottom, I'm going to start from the top and just go all the way down to the bottom. Doing it this way leaves a lot of material at the bottom of the joint, which then means you have a little bit more work to do with these, which costs you time. And it doesn't leave it as smooth as it would do if you were using the blade on the 10-inch box. Is to use the tools to the best of their ability. So if you can put the material on without having too much knife work to do, you will save a lot of time. So for when you come to sand off, if you don't touch in the corners, the machine leaves a perfect corner. So try not to press your tools right into the corner.
Thanks again for joining me as part of this exclusive series, and a special thanks to Mick and to 4M Drywall, who have kindly shared their trade secrets throughout this series. I'm confident that you've discovered in taping an opportunity to not only increase your skill sets, but also to take an active step towards protecting your future income. I mentioned at the very beginning of this video that I had an exciting announcement, so here it is. To celebrate the launch of the brand new Level 5 taping kit in this exclusive series, if you're ready to take action, then we have a jaw-dropping, extremely limited opportunity coming your way. Keep your eye out for my next email as when I reveal all the details. Just before we finish, please do me a favour and scroll down to the comments box below this video and share with me the single most useful thing you've learned today. Congratulations for making it this far, and don't forget to keep an eye out for my email, as this is a very limited offer and I'd hate for you to miss out. Thanks from everybody here at Gypsumtools, and I'll see you very soon.